Can you hear me okay? Peace. Thanks, buddy. You set me up. So I am a product of the 60s. Hopefully I'm holding it well. We'll see. If you remember, if you were here for two of the presentations yesterday, one was from Brighton and the type of things that they've gone through in learning the process and changing the process throughout and having the public part of it. And then also Kyle's presentation with Elbert County. I'd just say ditto. We had very, very similar situation at Fort Lupton. So with that, my presentation is over. I'll take any questions that you may have at this time. Not seen any. I'll actually speak for what I was brought here for. And I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the technology that does exist, because communities were fairly insulated prior to this new technology. And because of that, they are coming in to the city limits and very close proximity to existing subdivisions and future annexation areas that we have in our comprehensive plans. So it's very critical that we keep that in mind as we move forward, because it is something that the cities have not really had to deal with in a long time. So it's been very interesting the last 5 years. I have been with Fort Lupton. It'll be it's pretty much a full-time job just for Fort Lupton. They keep me busy, and I've been there just over 5 years. We do have a staff of 5 people now, and that's one of the benefits of this oil and gas movement. Because of the things that have come into the city, we have grown so that we have actually put on staff. I'm here today to actually talk about the massive oil and gas development influx in Fort Lupton itself and the very close proximity surrounding the area. If you know me or you've heard anything about Fort Lupton, you understand that we're probably going to be annexing Greeley in the next 5 years. So, and that's a promise. I actually coined my 3 talking points based on old Clint Eastwood film, one of my favorites. The good, the bad, thank you, and the ugly. I don't want to create any animosity here, so I'll try to keep it light and go through those points, and then at the end show how it all works out at the end, one way or the other. Let's start with the good. The good is the economic development that we've seen. We've had such an insurgence of new companies coming in. We've got the operators, but it's not the operator. It's not the well that we've really seen inside Fort Lupton per se. It's really those subcontractors and all the other people that provide the services for those drillers out there. And we've done quite a few annexations, and then also new projects coming in within the last probably 3 years. I think we've probably had at least 20 new projects come through, specifically with oil and gas related companies. So very positive. With that, again, I mentioned the staff growth because of the revenues that we have through the city and just the sheer fact that I can't take care of everything on my own. We also had, we've got other companies that are coming in. We've got a hotel that was approved. We've got restaurants that are coming in and continue to talk to us. So there's a great surge of energy coming into the community, energy not being oil and gas, but actually coming in to locate within Fort Lupton because of our proximity to the existing field. And just to give you a little bit of background, Fort Lupton is actually, if you don't know where it is, it's actually located north and adjacent to Brighton at the intersections of Highway 52 and 85. Very close proximity to Denver. We've got a great transit system, and again, that's part of the reason that people are locating within our area. We have no vacancies in the residential market. The hotels are full. We're trying to get more stuff built. The property values have increased phenomenally. I wish I would have bought 5 years ago. I might have been able to retire much faster had I done so. And then we've also got an increase in residential building permits from lots that were actually vacant years ago now being built on with nice homes for the workers coming in, and then actually brand new residential subdivisions coming up. We also have with property values going up, we have increased tax revenues, and that's a very good thing for the bottom line of a city budget. And again, a reason that I'm actually able to talk to you today because of that. I firmly believe that a lot of our success is not only location, but the ability to actually create relationships and open dialogue with the people that are coming in to talk with us prior to any construction or to permit, whether it be wells or one of the subsidiary projects are coming in the city to operate within the area. We do have the open for business motto. And I think people statewide understand, if they know my mayor, that we're very oil and gas friendly. And we do have the ability to work through the land use process very quickly and efficiently without missing much, hopefully. So with that being said, let's go to the bad. When you do have the economy that's booming that we've had in the last few years, you do get some bad that comes with it. And this is not necessarily always bad companies or untruthful people. And I'm not seeing any of the ones that I've worked with recently in here, luckily. But there are those companies that try to fly by night. They come in, they move around, they don't want to get permits, and they operate, and then they'll operate until you catch them, basically. We also have the ones that come in and may set up shop, may start operating, but they just purely do not know the land use code. They don't know the criteria that you've got to do to actually go through and set up shop in Fort Lupton. And we experience that with Weld County a lot too, with a lot of the neighboring properties. They come into the county and may actually be hiding out in a barn. But again, it doesn't mean that these people are bad people. It's just, I think part of the bad is that it is so important that you have good land use codes and good information out there on your website, good processes, so that you actually can curtail some of those issues, and we're not working from the backwards, actually. Once somebody's actually located, they've invested, they've got contracts, they're tied up on the property, it's a vicious cycle when you have to come in from the backside. And believe me, in the private and the public sector, that's pretty much all I do anymore. And it's very frustrating, very time-consuming for a municipality to actually have to deal with that. And I know Tom's staff, he's got a good staff, and a lot of the projects are actually started through the violation process, believe it or not. Again, I think we take care of that through education and good land use codes. I will skip some of the other violation information and move to the ugly. The ugly are what I call the impacts, and we all know the standards. We know the dust, the noise, the smell, the traffic increase, with that being both truck traffic as well as rail, and then also the road impacts. Those are the standards that we all see in the municipality and counties when going through this. The others that aren't as necessarily visual and you may not understand or may not know about are the massive amount of pipelines that are actually being placed, which is a good thing, to reduce some of that traffic. And then also the power lines that are being extended in many areas because of the power needs, the vast power needs of these facilities. We're actually dealing with a project right now with an expansion of some major power lines with us, and then it goes through the county, and I think part of it actually goes through Brighton, and it's through Tri-State, and it's actually for at least 3 or 4 new substations that are specifically going to be out there to power a lot of these new drilling sites. So there's a lot of, with the ugly, there's still some very positive. I'm trying to put that positive spin on it, that it's actually reducing the traffic. We're getting trucks off the road, and that's one of the major impacts that we actually deal with at the city. Fort Lupton actually has, right now, 132 producing wells in the city limits, 9 that are shown active, and 3 that have been permitted and not drilled. 145 total in the city limits. Within our 3-mile plan that I can legally annex this year, within this year, it's not quite to Greeley yet, There's a 1,767 production wells, 174 drilling, and 70 permitted. Now these are based on information that my GIS guy gave me, so if you find anything different, let me know and I'll change the numbers. But that's a huge impact, and again, a city as small as ours, we've 7,500 people, give or take, small community, but the roadway system is being is really burdened at this point, and that's one of our biggest deals that we're dealing with. So what do we do about this? Typically, we would work with people on a case-by-case basis, and we would always end up with a resolution. Typically, I've not gone into a discussion where we didn't have a final resolution that worked for both parties without the heavy hammer. So far, so good. You know, the problem is that that's not efficient, and it also doesn't offer the consistency that a lot of the applicants really desire, so that you know that you've got a standard format coming in the door that you're going to deal with day to day and until those codes actually change. So with that, we are working on a new oil and gas section. We've got a very dated code, very similar to the other communities. We started redlining this, and I'll tell you a funny story. Technology is amazing. We redlined our existing code, deleting a bunch of the existing code, and then adding a new process. Well, when we get this out to people to review in the industry as well as some of the state staff and others, I think that transition where it all became one, and you really couldn't tell what was redlined and what was being added. So it looked like our old code, which was hideous to begin with a lot more process added on top of it. The mayor quickly got at least 2 calls that I know of, very quickly, and we stopped the process. But we had not gone through any of the public part of it, so we're very fortunate in that fashion. We're currently working with Nancy and other state staff with our existing code. We're ramping that back up right now, and hopefully we'll have something completed within the next couple of months. But with that being said, we're not only looking at the code, we're also looking at the memo of understanding so that we can work with these individuals. And I've got to give Anna Darko specifically kudos, because they are one of the better entities that I specifically work with from a day-to-day basis, and that's probably going to be the first memo of understanding that we actually complete in the city of Fort Lupton. And then also the road impacts. I think Kyle had indicated that road impacts were included, or a separate document. We're actually looking at the road impacts being part of our code, and would also probably be pulled into the memo of understanding. But the attorneys have not had that opportunity at this point yet. I think you've heard it time and time again in closing. It is so critical that there's open dialogue, that as an entity, whether you be private or public, that there's communication. And I think Holly hit it too. Very critical in my operation is that it's face-to-face. I don't like emails. I don't like the phone calls. I don't like the conference on the computer. I want to see somebody's face. I want to look at them. I want to see what they're doing. I want to be able to see if they're actually lying to me or if they intend to do what they're telling me they're going to do. And it's so critical that we have that relationship as we go through this. It's so important that we work together, because we will continue to have challenges in this with what's happening out there. And so we have to work together, whether we're a government entity or the private sector. If we don't pull it together, it's not going to happen well. And we're going to have these folks that are out there and continually fight us, but we can do it right. In Fort Lupton, we love our oil and gas folks, and I would welcome more to come paint your future with us.
Hey, do we have any questions?